We are live with another episode of the Onyx Path News. My name is Matthew Dawkins, and welcome to this odd Tuesday edition of said show. Thank you very much for tuning in, those of you who've tuned in live, and those of you who are tuning in afterwards, thank you very much for turning up late. I am here, of course, to talk about our latest releases and some of the things Onyx Path have been getting up to since I was last speaking to you. And those include Tabletop Scotland, Trinity Continuum mission statements, and more. And hello, Gal, in the chat. I recognize Gal's name because Gal was actually in one of my games at Tabletop Scotland. So let's talk about Tabletop Scotland first, shall we? Onyx Path turned up in force for Tabletop Scotland this year. It was hosted in Perth in the Duars Centre. It is what I would generally consider a small to medium-sized convention. It is now a medium-sized convention, and it is growing fast. There were a lot of attendees there. Loads of people there enjoyed our games, attended our panel, and generally came up to us and asked us questions because we were happily wearing the Onyx Path brand as we walked around. We ran games of They Came From, we ran games of the Trinity Continuum Aberrant, and each one was a hit. Only one had to be cancelled, and that was at short notice, but luckily players and GM got rolled into my They Came From classified game without any fuss. Tabletop Scotland is actually one of my favourite conventions in the UK these days. It isn't at the manic size of UK Games Expo, which I enjoy, but it has a very different feel. And neither is it at the intimate size of a contingency or a continuum, which I also enjoy. Tabletop Scotland is somewhere in the middle of all that, and it's a middle ground I rather enjoy. Not only did we get to talk about a lot of our upcoming releases at Tabletop Scotland, they will actually be on a podcast. You'll be able to hear our panel on the podcast by Unlucky Frog. They are the people who recorded it and hosted the panel. But also, we got to speak about lots of games we're working on. Myself, Kim Godwin, Michele Masala, and John Burke were on hand to talk about all of the They Came Froms: Scion, Trinity, Pugmire, Exalted, our World of Darkness projects, Chronicles of Darkness projects, and The World Below, which got a lot of questions, I'm very pleased to say. So in short, I would say the convention was a big success for us. We got a lot of positive attention. A lot of people came away playing our game saying they wanted to buy a copy, and we were able to point them in the direction as to where they could. Don't forget, if you want a traditionally printed copy of our games, you can do that without backing a Kickstarter. We don't just publish through Kickstarter, and we don't just publish through Drive-Thru RPG. If you have a friendly local game store or indeed a bookstore on your high street, it benefits us a huge deal. It gets us in circulation, as it were, if you go into that store and ask to order one of our books. It may well be that the retailer at first breath would say that they can't find our book. That isn't the case. We are actually with more distributors than you would think. Big ones include, obviously, Studio 2, who we commonly distribute through both American and internationally. Asdevium is a big company as well, a big game supplier, and they do have us on their distribution list. Sometimes a retailer is only going to be able to see what is immediately in front of them. If they contact the distributor, they will be able to find our books and order them in. But we do need people to order them. So while we love it when people buy our books through Drive-Thru RPG, of course we do, and Kickstarter, and Indiegogo, and Indie Press Revolution, and everywhere else we sell them, getting them into the high street, getting them into stores, always takes the stores ordering them. That's the case for any book that's in a store that isn't mass-produced, and role-playing games are rarely mass-produced these days. So if you want a trad print copy of a book, doesn't matter where you are in the world, ask the retailer to contact their distributor. I know it may sound like a big ask, but you can guarantee, you can promise them that the distributor has access to our books. So, what do we have here? We have comments that are coming in live. We've got Gal, as I mentioned. We've got Pavel. We've got Bro Meliad. We've got Michele, all saying hi, well, and otherwise good day. And Gal has commented that Tabletop Scotland was larger than any of the conventions in his native Israel, and it was lovely playing with you as well, Gal. And and I see John Burke has shown up as well. I've actually now got 3 individuals who are at Tabletop Scotland, 4 individuals who are at Tabletop Scotland, tuning in on the chat. So it's like I can't get rid of these people. Barnacles, all of them. Pavel says, is there or will there be any video content from Tabletop Scotland available on YouTube or Twitch? We didn't record any videos there. That's something to consider for next year. But we did, as I say, record a podcast with Unlucky Frog. So that's a podcast to look out for. We also have a very big profile on The World Below on geeknative.com. They were in the audience. They asked us lots of questions. They've already written a big article about The World Below and what we're exploring conceptually. Most of it's accurate. But really, it was so thrilling to be able to talk about The World Below at such length and have so many questions about it. We have to maintain that it's still at a concept level right now. Things can change, but it's always interesting to hear what people are excited by. And so, yeah, thank you very much, everyone who did turn up and ask questions about The World Below and all of our other games. It really does feel good as creators when people are interested in the games we're putting out. What else have we got here? Velvet Tea Cake says, good evening. Mediocre Gamer says, no Paradox licensed books are published through Take Two, right? I have no idea. Take Two? Oh, Studio Two. Yeah. We produce things like Mummy the Curse 2nd edition, Deviant the Renegade, Hunt of the Vigil 2nd edition. They're available through Studio 2, most definitely. And the Exalted books as well. Any news regarding adventure? Asked Gal. Not in this episode, but stay tuned because we may have some adventurous stuff to talk about in the near future. Now, what else do we have? Well, last week, while I was busy heading up to Edinburgh for the festival, the Fringe, and to meet my colleagues, I got to see some lovely live shows and some lovely live people. We released mission statements for Trinity Continuum Aeon. Mission statements is a new book that has a ridiculous array of fantastically written antagonists, story hooks, new societies to play, and more setting information for your games of Aeon. It's very much in the companion mold. Our companion books always do very well. They give more player options, more story guide options. If you're a big Aeon player or if you're just into the setting, I really recommend mission statements because there's a lot you can play with. Likewise, if you're a story guide and you're looking to build a plot around an interesting antagonist or an event, mission statements is a good book for you. Right now, it's in PDF. We will, of course, be accumulating errata that we will then plug in, so that is then available via print on demand. The last few weeks have actually been very busy for us. Not only did we release mission statements, but we have released lots of books to backers, including Kith and Kin for Changing the Lost, The Book of Lasting Death for Mummy the Curse. What else have we put out there? Oh, of course, there are other books for which we have plugged in errata and are now ordering proofs. So there will be books like Saints and Monsters for Scion. And there's more besides. So we're always busy at Onyx Path, and that's a good busy to be in. We do love creating, otherwise we wouldn't do it. So really, and I know I've said it already in terms of Tabletop Scotland, but thank you everyone who keeps supporting us through thick and thin. And I always recommend, a lot of people are fans of a particular game. Dip your toe in the pools of another game. Just give it a go. See whether it grabs you. I say that from some experience because I have, especially in my early days as a role player, I was very focused on World of Darkness, for instance, and it took me quite a long time to start really experimenting outside of my comfort zone. But when I did, I started finding, wow, okay, there are these games. I'm now having these ideas. Most of my writing, here's some free writing advice, comes as a result of running games, especially running games I'm not familiar with. I've mentioned here and there that right now I run around 6 games a month for my various Patreons, and I run a regular at-home game as well for my local group. So 7 individual games a month for different groups. And some people say, how do you have the capacity, the time, the energy, or the ideas? The fact is, groups of players feed me ideas. By my running games for them, I learn more. What's more, I don't run the same game over and over again. I run a mixture of games, both Onyx Path and other companies. And that means I can then start using some of the best ideas that come up in games to put in games. It's a wonderful cycle and it feeds my creative needs, you know? So, my point, long and winded as it is to get to, is if you are a fan of one of our games and are hankering for the next release, that is absolutely fine. But do give another game a go. They're not going anywhere. Your release will come, but give another game a try and try it out on our Discord. Something I mention periodically is if you are a fan of our games but you never get a chance to play them, go on the Onyx Path Discord. It is linked below because there is a looking for gamers or looking for a group server on there where you can say, I want to run this and I'm looking for players. And I know I've said this 1,000 times before, but don't be afraid to say, and in fact, I encourage you to say this. Say, this will be a session where we learn the rules together. This will be a session where we can slow down, speak out of character, and go through character creation together. You can do this on the Start Playing events as well that we're running every single month. Last month we did very well. I'm hoping it just keeps getting better and better. But the point is that you're not the only person who's new to a game. There's going to be a lot of people who are checking out this server who want to play games but don't have the confidence to do so because they don't know the rules yet. The easiest way to learn rules is by doing it together. So please do try that. Pick up Scion if you've never played it before. Pick up They Came From. Pick up Trinity. Go for an Onyx Path game and give it a try and let us know what you think. Now, what else do we have here? I see we have wrestlers stumbling into the chat as well with Vince McMahon going, God damn it, Austin! Yeah, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I hear him and Miss Elizabeth. He's cracking his beers open in the ring, the Macho Man's ring. That's right. Well, let's see you, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Take the elbow and the 1, 2, 3. Round the top turnbuckle, let's feel the madness. Yeah. This is largely what Tabletop Scotland consisted of, unfortunately. First name Macho, last name Man. Yeah. John Burke and I throwing wrestling back and forth to each other in absence of Eddie Webb, who is my similar wrestling compatriot. Unfortunately, I have to throw it at John, but John gives as good as he gets. We had a lovely $1 Million Man and IRS interplay at one point. Everybody's got a price. To the point that we were singing the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase theme tune. He got sued majorly in the state of Louisiana, as I understand it. Anyway, what else do we have here? Sign off with the Grange Hill theme tune or lose all respect among the community. So I took a risk when I was running They Came From Camp Murder Lake at Tabletop Scotland. I decided I would set it in the secondary comprehensive school of Grange Hill. A children's TV, teen TV program that was big in the 80s. So prime Camp Murder Lake era. But, you know, if you were born, if you're younger than 30, you probably wouldn't get any of the references. Thankfully, even the younger players did. So we had a cinematic in our Grange Hill game where if you went, which is actually, I think I may have mixed up the Hollyoaks and Grange Hill. Either way, Sting, which happened at the end of every episode at a cliffhanger. You could then cut to the next scene, which was quite fun. But anyway, what else do we have here? We've got lots of other questions. Woo Scion, says Chris. Yes, indeed. Our next Kickstarter, or crowdfunder, I should say, that's more accurate, is going to be Scion God, which I'm very excited about. I got to speak about God for a while. Scion God at Tabletop Scotland. I didn't start proselytizing. Well, I did, I guess, about a role-playing game, about some of the exciting things you can expect to see in Scion God, but do stay tuned because we will, of course, heavily publicize the crowdfunding campaign when that goes live. Pavel says, can we get a hint about what will be next Onyx Path product that will get 90% off promotion in the incoming September. Can you get a hint? Pavel, let me think. What would be a good hint to give? What's our next sale? Expect a game where you are not playing humans. I mean, I think that's going to narrow it down. We've been through most of our games already, but there we go. Michael says that many games must be great for brainstorming material. It really is. John Burke says Discord rule sessions probably a good resource for prospective line writers too. Yes, tabletop macho, first name tabletop, last name macho. Yeah, dig it. I've done all this Macho Man impersonations that I don't want to go. Oh, yeah, yeah, right. Michaeli says we make good games indeed. Velvet Tea Cake says that does seem like a perfect setting. It was seemingly riddled with crime. Zamo says just say no to drugs. How was Camp Murder Lake, by the way? Camp Murder Lake did very well, and thank you for saying everyone was laughing. You could hear it all the way over in the Deadlands table. Deadlands, love it, love the game. Doesn't tend to generate a bundle of laughs. So I hope that we didn't disrupt play too much over on Camp Murder Lake as the coach broke down in Littleton and rammed into a war memorial. But it was good fun. It was good fun. And one of the players became the cult leader by the end. And the sequel is going to be from Baker Grove, where everyone gets to play various PJ and Duncan characters. Anyway. So what else do we have to talk about? There's always lots. Yes, I've got one more thing I want to talk about right now. It's very important. And I'm just reading your comments as they come in. We were sacrilegious, I would say that. Yes, we did go to a religious center for our lunch one day inadvertently, and I don't think we will be welcome back. I mean, hopefully they don't realize who we worked for. We only had Onyx Path Publishing written across the front of our t-shirts. Anyway, that wasn't what I wanted to talk about. If you check out the media blog this week, you will see that our media for this week is running pretty low. I think we've got about 3 streams going on for this week. Now, things go up and down all the time, but as it happens, groups sometimes simultaneously bring their games to an end, or they burn out, or they just need a break. And that means we're really on the lookout for new media creators. So if you are interested in running an actual play, doing deep dives into our games, interviewing writers, artists, developers at Onyx Path, doing character creation sessions, hell, doing anything with our games, providing it is child friendly or at least family friendly, and you can stream it on Twitch and YouTube. You can do it on our channel, and what's more, we can help you with things like overlays, the technology you need to use. We will help you out with that, and if you can commit, we can even help you out with PDFs to do this surrounding our games. So if this is something that appeals to you, and I really recommend it, it's a good way of getting your face, your name out there, and also interacting with our crowd, hell, getting picked for more games. Do click on the form. It's in the video description below. And sign up. Just register an interest. Say that you'd be interested in playing or running something, and we would love to have you on there. The primary focus is on Scion, Trinity, Scarred Lands they came from, and also Pugmire, Legend Lore. We want to promote these things, but World of Darkness and Chronicles of Darkness are still on the table as long as they're games we're currently supporting. And I would say that that is the majority of Chronicles of Darkness, but especially Mage the Awakening, Changing the Lost, Deviant, Hunter, Mummy. And in terms of World of Darkness, Werewolf the Apocalypse and Mage the Ascension are big goers as well. But so too are Ghost Hunters, and by that rationale, Wraith the Oblivion. So I think that just about does it. Thank you so much for tuning in, given that this news is a day later than usual, travel being what it is. I took a day. I took a day, but here we are. Here we are now. And thank you so much, because you're all tuning in. Those of you who came to Tabletop Scotland, who either work with me at Onyx Path, or were just there as fans, as customers who wanted to play our games and attend our panel. You really don't know how much it means to me that we all had such a good time, that you are always there to support our games, and by that virtue, me, because I work on them. I love going to Scotland. I love going to conventions. It's a lot easier these days, especially in the midst of pandemic and the cost of travel, to do it within the UK and mainland Europe. So yeah, I look forward to the next one. I imagine my next one will be in the UK. That doesn't mean the next one we attend won't be, or will be. So yeah, we will see. We'll see what happens. But thank you so much for watching, and do click the links below. They will help us if you pick up one of our products. All the best, and have a good rest of your week.